What's up? Couple thoughts. Been watching these YouTube debates. Emptiness. They never answer fucking questions. They never talk about policy substance. Ever. It's ridiculousness. Such a crock of fucking shit. Political debates. Some thoughts. What I find some strange dichotomies in American politics. We have one party on one hand that talks about the sanctity of life and being pro-life, yet they advocate the death penalty. And then we have one party that has major problems with the death penalty because they find it barbaric, and at the same time have no problem with second trimester abortions. I'm sorry, man. I don't see any kind of logic there at all, in any way. It's funny, I was talking to a friend tonight and I made a comment about how Clinton's foreign policy throughout the world in a lot of places. In some places it was great, in other places it was just, oh, yeah, he fouled up a lot of shit, you know. But, I mean, actually, domestically, I had no problem with Clinton as a president at all. I think he allowed the fine oiled money-making machine the United States is to. It was pretty laissez-faire when it came to business, and you know, so I mean, it was good for America. It might not be good for the rest of the world, but you know, that's a totally different argument. But um, he said to me, he goes, "Oh, like this president, you know," and he starts talking about the Bush administration. I was like, where the fucking say they had a great foreign policy? I mean, it just amazes me, people in this country, like, if you critique someone of one party, they assume that you must be a member of the other party, when in fact I have no use for either Federalist Party, and that's what they are. We have right and left wings of the Federalist Party. We don't have two parties anymore. It's one party, one Federalist Party. One leans a little right, one leans a little left, but yeah, the days of Goldwater are gone. They're dead. I find it very odd. Um, you have a group of intellectuals on the left, the American left, you know, that believe that creationism shouldn't be taught in science class. I happen to completely and wholeheartedly percent agree with them, and I can do a totally different vlog on that. But creationism has no place in a science class. That being said, I think it's important to note that these people that believe that evolution should be taught as what is the origin of life, you know, now we're finding out that it might even be like a chemical evolution. You know, they've actually isolated polymers that actually self-replicate, like these simple compounds. It's pretty interesting stuff. That could be precursors to RNA or RNA precursors. And I mean, it's making us think totally different of the origin of life and the origin of species. Maybe there was like compound species and on a chemical level. Very neat stuff that they're thinking about, and that are logical when it comes to the origin of life. And I think it's important to teach that. At the same time, the same group of people want to somehow separate humanity from their animal tendencies, meaning that competition is programmed in us, in the very essence of our genetics. That's why we have adrenaline, that's why we have testosterone. You know, these things are highly correlative to aggression. And genetics, you know, we will find, because the correlation is entirely too high for it not to be, that aggressive personality types we will find to be genetic, that is genetic, that part of our personality can be assimilated, certainly, through reinforcement and learning and cognitive ability. It doesn't change the fact that some people are more aggressive than others, and that we are animals, and that killing is in our very nature, and the territorial living is in our very nature, and to kill for that territory or a resource is very natural instinct. And right or wrong, we can get into the lofty ideals of human rights and everything else. That's a completely different argument. The point I'm trying to make is that I find it very illogical that the same group of people that don't believe religion should touch public education are the same group of people that want to believe in this lofty ideal of God-given rights. The Jefferson, these self-evident rights. So, I mean, it's just basically a belief system too, with no real scientific basis to it. So, I really don't see the difference between the two. Now, I may favor one over the other, and I certainly favor individual rights and pluralism over any belief system. But that being said, I don't feel that that is any different. And if people believe that they can impose their political beliefs on individual rights on someone, I think that someone that has theological perspective on individual rights should have that same ability to voice that in a public manner. That's a freedom of expression. I find that a little hypocritical to say that freedom of expression applies to everything besides religion. I think it's ridiculous. They're telling girls that they can't wear scarves. I can understand hiding your face. I don't think there's a need for a young lady to hide her face in class, but wearing a scarf, why not? Or a young man wearing a crucifix or a Star of Islam or a headdress. I don't see why they shouldn't be allowed to express themselves in that way. I find that very odd. And everybody knows that I'm not very particularly religious, and I think I'm understating that purposely. But I don't know. Those are just some thoughts. Tell me what you think.